The Danes come home a long way last.
We can't do this. We've got to be better than that.
This is not some charity event. If he doesn't perform, trust me, he will get replaced.
You know, the Vikings never had a Royal Navy admiral helming our boats. Well done!
Some people will argue that we don't have enough experience.
Different perspectives and expectations from both teams leads to different pressures.
Rockwool is a Danish family-owned company that manufactures and sells stone wool insulation, but it's a global focus, so it works all over the world. To sponsor an event like SailGP is completely new territory for Rockwool. They've never done a sports sponsorship ever in the history of the company.
Now, all of a sudden, they've got an opportunity to really compete with the best on the world stage in SailGP. And it's a great opportunity for them, but the Danish fans won't accept finishing at the back of the fleet.
The Denmark SailGP team has a full-time crew, so all the sailors work full-time towards this project. But even with that investment and full-time focus, the team still has a big learning curve, and the early results did not really go to plan.
First race of the season, and the Danish team are really struggling to compete. It looks like they're intimidated, and it's not surprising. In this new lineup, you've essentially got the best sailors in the entire sailing world.
What happens in SailGP is that you actually attract the champions from different classes. They have learned foiling in the meantime, they've done America's Cups, and then all of a sudden they show up in SailGP.
As the Danes come home a long way last, well, it is going to be a steep learning curve. This is a really, really big step up in class, and they're being found out a little bit here this week.
The guys went into the racing with, they only had 20 hours on board. Some of the other sailors have years on this boat, so it showed the guys that, you know, this is not going to be easy. We had an injury with Martin breaking his shoulder.
Stopping. I don't think that the results they lie. Definitely, we're not at a level where we could compete with the best guys.
I don't think Nikolai rates alongside the other top sailors at this stage.
If he is not delivering the results, then you've got to consider others, whether that be some of their top Olympic sailors or a name helm to fast-track that team to the top, and then you're at that level and you're working to keep it at that level. I think that that's definitely an option for that team.
The team knew that it was going to be a big challenge, but I think that when they actually got there and saw the level of competition, it really brought it home, how big this challenge is.
Big Ben Ainslie on the British boat, the most decorated sailor in Olympic history. He has returned to the waters that brought him so much glory 2 decades ago.
Yeah, I remember quite clearly the first time I got into the F50 in SailGP in Sydney Harbour, and I still think it's one of the best, most fun days of sailing I've ever had.
Ben Ainslie. This isn't just one of the greatest sailors of all time, this is one of the greatest sportsmen of all time. I mean, he's an Olympic legend, the first person to win medals at 5 consecutive games. He, alongside Jimmy Spithill, masterminded the greatest America's Cup victory of all time in 2013, arguably the greatest comeback in all of sports. He is the GOAT amongst GOATs.
We were a bit of a dark horse coming in, racing for the first time in the league. And in many ways, we didn't have as much pressure on our shoulders. It was just about going out, having a great time sailing on Sydney Harbour, and the results came from that.
It's first blood to Big Ben Ainslie and Great Britain. It's going to be an amazing year.
Different perspectives and expectations from both teams, that leads to different pressures.
There are 2 ways to win in SailGP. There's the race on the water, but there's also the race off the water in terms of media and storytelling and marketing. One of our biggest products on the marketing side this year is a show called Beneath the Surface, and it allows us to go a bit deeper into the city. Welcome to Beneath the Surface, presented by Rockwell. So we've come to the City Hall to find out how Taranto is trying to reinvent itself. We go and meet important people in the city, and it gives us an opportunity to open the door and deliver value to them, which creates that relationship and that trust.
The reason that we are in SailGP is because it was the best business case for us.
For us, it's a commercial project. For many of the other teams, if you are a AAA person with 3 gold medals, you either win or lose. We are an industrial company. We need to attract people to the industry. We want a story. I look at the Italian event, and we had more than 2 million views. And when we do things like this, people see the boat. They see that an industrial company that does a little bit of a crazy thing like this with a sustainability goal to it, that must be a fun place to work, and then they apply. But yes, we do the event in Italy, and now we started to ship to southern Italy, and I'm embarrassed to say that we had neglected southern Italy thanks to the event. We are there, so there are some business benefits. So we don't overstress ourselves for the result, because sometimes you also need patience and not be so hard on yourself when not everything comes together.
I think Rockwell's been very nice right now. That they've said, look, you know, we realise this is going to take time and we're going to give you that time. My experience is that time becomes very limited.
Welcome to Bermuda Sail Grand Prix, presented by Hamilton Princess.
You get your 1 or maybe, if you're lucky, 2 chances in professional sports, and if you don't succeed, they're the only chances that you get.
Seeing the lineup for the SailGP is a sight for itself. You not only do you have an extremely difficult boat to sail, you also have to sail it much better than the absolute elite in the world, which sounds like an impossible task. The first race of the first day, on the first upwind, we had Spain coming on starboard. And in that dip, we crashed the boat. So we lost all our wind instruments, which is bad, because you lose your eyes out of the boat, basically.
Terrible day. That was pretty good. We could have had 3 top 3s, the way we sailed. We could have, if we sailed boat handling, we would have been 3 top 3s.
I know, that's what I mean. But so you're not upset about the results, are you?
Yeah. We can't do this. We got to be better than this.
Okay.
But I'll give you an interview, my honest opinion.
No.
I'll give you an interview.
No, give it to me straight. Tell me.
Yeah. When do you want it?
Tell me.
You're ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm going to unload it on you.
Go.
Lean back.
Are we gonna make it? You know, I went into Bermuda believing that we had what it was gonna take just from the training and stuff. And the results didn't reflect it. And I kind of thought to myself, this is, we gotta do something here. I know it's not my job, I'm not part of the sailing team, but we all feel it, right? When things are going wrong, and it's a high-profile project, there's no escaping that. You know, when they're at home in Denmark in the supermarket, they'll get asked a question by someone about why the performance was bad in Bermuda, and it can really ruin the day, you know?
The first day of racing in Bermuda, the Saturday, we were losing control of the boat and the manoeuvres. We couldn't make our jibe stick.
Whoa, nearly a capsize on board the British boat there.
For us, we had a terrible first day of racing.
No, safe. Hell.
And you make one bad manoeuvre, the whole fleet sails past you, and unfortunately that was the case on day one.
Hell, guys, my wreck. It's just a shambles. Yo.
We were really staring down the barrel of defeat and not even qualifying for that final 3 race. And we did that. We made some subtle changes to the setup of the boat for Sunday's racing.
Sir Ben Ainslie, he finished 7th twice in the first 2 races, and he has rebounded nicely here on the final day at the right time.
Day 2, and they're dominating. It's classic Ben Ainslie. He's not only qualified for the final, but he wins it.
And they are going to be the winners here in Bermuda of SailGP Bermuda. What a comeback from Ainslie, and how much is that going to hurt Slingsby?
He beats the Australians again, and then up on the podium, he makes this lovely gesture that gives me a measure of the man.
Well, Hannah Mills is a real superstar in our sport. We felt she was very much part of the team, and it was just natural that she should join us for that prize giving and take one of the medals.
Then on the other side of the coin, you've got Nikolai Sehersted, and he's dealing with yet another difficult defeat.
I think we had some good moments and some bad moments. We are competitive, we want to do better, but we have to keep reminding ourselves that also what we keep telling ourselves, that we are not here to win the first event or the second or the third. So for now, we're taking every learnings and keep the head high.
I don't believe that it's a realistic approach to say that we can accept bad results and it'll take time to build. My experience is if you approach sports like that, you'll probably never succeed. It's almost as if others could be saying that, but Nikolai, in his mind, he needs to be thinking, I've got to turn this around, and I've got to turn it around now. The reality is, if he doesn't, and somebody better comes along, he will get replaced. This is not some charity event. This is professional sports, and if he doesn't perform, and there's somebody else that's actually better sitting out there, trust me, he will get replaced.
We can talk about the actual on-water performance in Bermuda, but it was part of, it's part of the plan. We knew that it would be hard. This is a race with the best sailors in the world. We chose specifically to have a skipper that represented us.
I believe Nikolai is the right leader for a Danish team. You don't get a better sailing leader in Denmark today.
You must remember that we are sailing a boat under the Danish flag. The Vikings never had a Royal Navy admiral helming our boats.
For us, it was really important to bet on the Danish side of the team from the very beginning and have a Danish skipper at the helm. And again, in particular, I would say Nikolai, because of who he is as a person.
You will have to search for a very long time to get a more natural-born leader than Nikolai. His guys, they will go through fire and ice and water for him. And that's because when it comes to it, Nikolai, he has their back.
Going pretty quick here in the middle of the Indian Ocean, middle of the night, so it's pretty dark. Basically, there's a mountain underwater. We're doing around 20 knots. I remember surfing the last wave and then realizing on that wave that there was a rock and a reef right in front of the end of that wave. I remember that, just seeing that at the last second and just saying, oh no. We broke a lot of gear and the boat's in bad shape. 100% focus on getting everyone safe and securing the boat as much as you can and taking it from there.
Needed assistance to abandon ship. Over.
Sailing is a big part of my life, and my girlfriend, and we have a daughter now. I only met her because we hit that reef with Vestas, where I then flew back to Denmark, and then I met her a week later. So all decision in sailing is brought me to where I am today.
Now, in our time together, we agreed that it was probably, how do you say, held i uheld. You say in Denmark that it was good luck in bad, because if he wouldn't have crashed there in the middle of the Indian Ocean, I think it was, then he wouldn't have gone to the gala and probably we wouldn't have met.
For a year while we were in the Southern Ocean doing this ocean race, I think I learned two things that I really use a lot. One is to really control the emotions. And the second thing that I learned is it's all about the team. It's all about the people around you. When things go really bad, you only survive if you have the best people next to you.
we welcome you to the port city of Toronto, the host for Event 2 of SailGP's second season.
Denmark, where can they get themselves at mark number 1? Remember, they need a top finish to make this final race as well, Freddie.
One strength from this team is concluding on how we can improve and then go out and execute.
What a time to find your form if you're Nikolai Seherstedt.
Yeah, we talked about they needed a momentum-shifting result, and this momentum-shifting result, if they stay in second or move to first and the Kiwis fall further down the ladder, could see them go into the top 3.
Seherstedt looking for opportunity. Brilliant to see the Danish crew improving through the day.
Now we have a really good boat speed and our boat handling is good, so now we can position the boat where we want. I mean, that was the biggest problem we had in Bermuda, and we got that sorted. We could position ourselves, we could actually talk about strategy and put in the maneuvers that we needed.
Yeah, it was a good day for us. We always knew that we were going to get there eventually. We just had to put in the work and put in the hours, and now it's slowly starting to come together a bit. We have a bit bigger toolbox. We can fight pretty hard, and I think, to be honest, our guys in the boat today sailed this boat almost as good as anyone out here.
Inside the camp, we knew that there was a change. We knew that it felt differently. You know, there was an energy there. The guys were more confident. They felt more focused on what specifically they needed to improve, and it showed what we're capable of, and that actually, you know, we are capable of competing with these teams.
After Bermuda, Ben announces that he's going to miss the next 2 races, and everyone's in disbelief. But when you ask why, there's no answer.
About 4 years ago or so, we embarked on this adventure to try and have a second child, and it just was proving to be very, very difficult. We had our wonderful surrogate in place, but we couldn't do anything about it because we couldn't get here. You know, the IVF clinics had closed down, and we couldn't say anything because obviously we weren't there yet. But now we can, and we're really happy, and yeah, we've got a lovely little addition to our family in Fox. I'm always looking for balance, whereas he's always looking for these extremes. He has his Olympic history. He parked that at London 2012 Games because he said, you know, I could go no better in that scenario, but he knows that he can make an impact in SailGP. So I think those are the things that, while those are the events that are still out there to conquer, he's really keen to just go and do it. You'll catch him in moments where the rest of us have all gone to bed, and he'll be replaying videos of, you know, all sorts of previous campaigns that he's been involved in, just to keep sort of refreshing his memory of how he won, how he can be better, you know, what happened if he got beaten and how could he have improved. It's a sports star's mentality to just keep pushing constantly.
Thank you.
Nikolai, in terms of getting the team to a winning point, they're knocking on the door, but not quite getting to the next stage.
I don't see any reason at all why the Danish team can't be winning Grand Prix and winning a league. So I don't subscribe to that view at all. I think all of the teams have the talent now and the experience in these boats. There's no reason why they shouldn't be, like I say, they shouldn't be winning Grand Prix and can't be winning a league.
Made it past the hardest thing of the day.
These guys, they were thrown in the deep end against some lions in the fleet, and Nikolai's had to learn the hard way.
I actually believe some of the new talent coming through are real threats.
Do I think they could win in a year or two's time? I do. I genuinely do.
I still believe it doesn't matter which team it is, that any team in this circuit at the moment with the people involved can go out there and win these regattas.
Hello and welcome to SailGP in Britain's historic ocean city of Plymouth for the 3rd series of Season 2. Here we go, 5 seconds to go, race number 1 at the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix.
And the gun goes, the Danish are just over, they are OCS, it looked like they were going to get a perfect start. They're going to get relegated to the
It didn't look like that, but they say that we crossed the line too early, and therefore we need to go all the way to the back and start last.
Race number 2, it's Australia once again out in front.
The French, the Danish and the Spanish are locked for second place.
We just need to keep working, keep fighting.
Great finish for Denmark SailGP, presented by Rockwell, and the Danes will claim second.
Second.
This is the Great Britain Sail Grand Prix as we get ourselves ready for race number 5. So with 5 seconds at the line, wait for the white line to go white, and it does.
That was a good start.
Denmark and New Zealand had to bear away at the start as is to not get a penalty. Did it cost them massively? Yes, it did.
And it's going fast. Look, fourth.
Nikolaj Sejested, the helmsman for Denmark. They could really be spoilers if they could move ahead of Spain and even possibly get into a mix with France, taking valuable points away.
3! Yeah! And he's on starboard. He's on starboard.
And a nice step up in performance by Sejested and his crew here. They're getting better at every event they go to.
Well done. The last race today is exactly the spirit we want to see. We never ever give up. Our team didn't despair. They just kept working, and they come from second last to the 3rd position, and that makes you proud.
Nikolaj's going to be sailing at home next, and all of the Olympians return. Now, you've got Pete Burling and Blair Tuke, the silver medalists, and you've got Sir Ben Ainslie. This is, no question, the biggest test that Nikolaj is going to face, because these are sailors who relish the biggest challenges.
I know Nikolaj well. You know, they got a lot of talent. I think they're a well-invested, backed team, and I expect them to keep improving through this series, through this season, and into next season, and be one of the serious contenders in the long term. You know, in sport, of course, nothing always goes to plan. There's always setbacks, there's always challenges, and I think you have to be able to adapt to that. And in some ways, the harder the challenge, the more rewarding it is if you can come back and you can still achieve that. And that's what we all love about sport.
Our homecoming event in Aarhus coming up, the Rockwell Denmark Sail Grand Prix, the first time that SailGP's ever been to Denmark, and it's going to be huge. And you know, maybe we can do something even bigger on home waters.
Of course, Nikolaj and his crew want to win on home waters. But even better than that is winning with one of the greatest sailors of all time in the water. That's got to be every sailor's dream. Win on home waters against the greatest sailor of all time. No doubt it's Nikolaj's dream.
One of the big misconceptions around the team is that, you know, we don't care about winning, or we don't care if we're losing, you know, because actually we do really care, and we are really ambitious, I think, but there's a level of realism in there that, you know, this takes time to close the gap. The goal is to change Danish sailing forever. So actually it's a super ambitious plan. It's one of the most ambitious plans I've ever seen in my time working, not just in sailing, but in sports.
The thing about this team is it's not just it's not a simple project. It's not just a thing. We're, you know, there's a nation, there's pride, it's a small country, so what you do really is reflected. And I know there's an international element to it, but it's an emotional team, and this is what we need to do, and we need to win SailGP. It's as simple as that.
That Hollywood movie of eventually winning on the water is, of course, something I do really personally believe in. And in my mind, I'm already planning what the social media and the videos are going to be around that moment. We're willing to wait for it.
If you have a team you appreciate, just keep on going. Make sure that you improve every time you go on the water. Make sure you come back from the water wiser than when you went out there. And if you can keep on doing that every day, you're fine. So patience.
Some people will argue that we don't have enough experience, and we don't have any Danish F50 sailors or foiling America's Cup sailors, but we knew that from the beginning. We knew we are going to be a Danish team with Danish sailers.
Come on, turning up. That's how we do it, boys.
We have the best sailors that we can have right now, and they're doing a fantastic job. And if you really believe me, it won't be too many years before all of these guys are superstars. We're not going to win SailGP this year, but we are going to win SailGP very soon.